So, those who do not have any faith on this subject matter, which inspires one to practice Ananya Bhakti, they, without attaining my spiritual abode, they remain in this material world, wherein they continuously go through repeated cycle of birth and death. So this is what happens. This is what will happen to the people of this world who
Ramaji,
does not
mute
have
everyone.
any faith in the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada writes in the purport in the first few lines, the faithless cannot accomplish this process of devotional service. That is the purport of this verse. Faith is created by association with devotees. Unfortunate people, even after hearing all the evidence of Vedic literature from great personalities, still have no faith in God. They are hesitant and cannot stay fixed in devotional service of the Supreme Lord. Thus, faith is most important factor for a progress in Krishna consciousness. So, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that faith is the complete conviction that simply by serving the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, one can achieve all perfection. Chaitanya Charitamrita defines that faith means by serving Lord Krishna, everything can be achieved. That is the definition of faith. Prabhupada quotes this verse here. Yata tarodmula nisheshanenam trippen saskanda bhujobhashaka pranopahara chaitendriyanam tataiva sarvarana majuchadya. That this also indirectly indicates the faith aspect. That one should have a faith that by serving Lord Krishna, service to everyone is accomplished. That faith one should have. With that faith, one should execute devotional service as one's life and soul. So that is what is indicated. Otherwise, the result is one will remain in this material world and continuously go through repeated cycle of birth and death. There afterwards in the next paragraph, Prabhupada writes, therefore, after reading Bhagavad Gita, one should promptly come to the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. What is the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita? One should give up all other engagements and adopt the service of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. If one is convinced of this philosophy of life, that means one has faith. That Prabhupada says that one should give up all other engagements and serve Lord Krishna. That means one takes to this kind of activities, that means that person has faith. So Prabhupada writes in the last paragraph of the entire purport, last 4-5 lines. In between, throughout the purport, Prabhupada talks about 3 kinds of people: the Kanishta, Madhyama, and Uttama. The Kanishta's faith is very fragile. His faith can be disturbed by anybody else. The Madhyama and Uttama has strong faith. So he says that the Kanishta always should try to come to the stage of Madhyama and Uttama. So by which one can go back to Godhead. So at the end he says that those who have no faith even after hearing about Krishna and the excellence of devotional service, who think that it is simply eulogy, find the path very difficult, even if they are supposedly engaged in devotional service. For them, there is very little hope of gaining perfection. Thus, faith is very important in the discharge of devotional service. So, in order to progress in devotional service, one should have complete faith that Krishna Bhakti will give me residence in the spiritual world and will give me opportunity to serve the Supreme Lord in person in one of the higher rasas. That faith one should have. So otherwise, Prabhupada mentions in the purport that people come to Krishna consciousness movement with ulterior motives. When their motives are fulfilled, they leave Krishna consciousness and they go back to their old habits. So Krishna consciousness is not meant to fulfill our ulterior motives. Instead, it is meant to take us back home, back to Godhead, and re-establish us back in our original service to Lord Krishna. So the meaning of this verse is, those who do not accept with firm faith ashraddha dana. Those who do not accept with firm faith that the dharma in the form of devotional service to me, though its strength is well known in the Vedic scriptures, because they think that the statements of the scriptures are exaggeration, and hence they do not attain me, even though they perform many other practices such as karma, jnana, yoga, and other things without any bhakti at all in that, in order to attain me, but they ignore bhakti. Such kind of people, they remain completely on the path of samsara, which brings about repeated death. Mrityu samsara vartmani. Vartma means it is like a path that will keep one in mrityu samsara. That samsara which is characterized by constant birth and death. Nitaram vartate. Nivartate means the line which in the second third line is mentioned that nivartate. Aprapya mam nivartate. Aprapya mam, they don't obtain me, but nivartate. Nitaram vartate. They continuously travel in the path of samsara. So this is what it is. If one who has no faith in spite of hearing Vedic literature glorifying Bhakti and Bhagavan, if one does not develop faith in Bhakti, their destiny is that they will continue to stay in this material world, which is called Mrityu Samsara, the path of repeated cycle of birth and death. So now, in order to create faith within us, so that we can practice Ananya Bhakti unto the lotus feet of Supreme Lord, the Lord now speaks the knowledge of the powers of God required by devotees who are situated in Dasya Bhakti in Aishwarya mood is remarkable powers that stimulate devotion unto him. So here in these verses 4 to 10, they instigate us to practice Aishwarya Bhakti. Later on, Lord Krishna will speak from verse number 29 onwards. Those verses will instigate Bhakti, instigate a devotee to practice Bhakti in Madhurya. Of course, Madhurya aspect is not so much touched by Lord Krishna in these chapters, but hint is given about them. But at least these verses will talk about the Aishwarya aspect of the Supreme Lord, knowing which one can practice Uttama Bhakti in the mood of awe and reverence. All these verses will
Hare
act as
Krishna Prabhu.
Deepaka. Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhupada writes in the purport that even is it possible that we, while performing bhakti, we are still doesn't have that level of faith and we have weak faith, even we are associating and hearing. So that is also called ashraddha, or how exactly we check, or how does it apply that to know that we really are, have a strong faith, or we are still need to improve?
See, my simple understanding, Prabhuji, whether we really have faith or not, it is that when we get up tomorrow morning, are we willing to pick up our bead bag and chant 16 rounds? If we are willing to pick up our bead bag and chant 16 rounds and also open Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, read for some time, or open our gadget, hear some lecture, that means we have faith on Bhakti. Our faith is intact on Bhakti.
But still chanting, hearing and reading is still okay, but for chanting we can't say that.
Huh?
Obviously we decide that we will perform this daily, but that desire is not that strong.
Yeah. For the desire to become strong, we need to get inspiration from the association of devotees. That's why we attend all the satsang programs, Sunday feast programs, yatras, so that our faith and the performance of bhakti will become more and more strong. For that only Rupa Goswami prescribed us 64 types of activities that we need to perform in our day-to-day life. So all the 64 types of activities will be discussed elaborately in our course Nectar of Devotion. So the test is how enthusiastically we want to perform them, or we want to perform them only as a matter of duty. So in that way we can decide whether we are really faithful or we are performing our bhakti as a matter of duty. At what level our faith is there, we can only able to test ourselves. So in that way. So here Lord Krishna says in the fourth verse, fourth and fifth verse, little tricky verses, where sometimes very difficult to get the correct understanding also, but we'll try to see. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagad avyakta murtina mastani sarvabhutani nachaham teshu avastita. Someone read the translation.
By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them.
So the literal meaning of the shloka is very easy. It is not that one, but the intention with which Lord Krishna is speaking. So one need to get it. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagad avyakta murtina. Here says that the entire universe is pervaded by me in my invisible form. Avyakta murtina means it has no visible form. The people of this world are called Vyakti. The previous chapter also we were discussed about Vyakta, Avyakta, second Avyakta, third Avyakta, like that. Manifest or unmanifest form. It is basically talking about the Paramatma feature of the Supreme Lord. He says that I, in my Paramatma feature, spread all over this universe, and by that Paramatma, the entire universe is operating. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagad avyakta murtina. That is called avyakta murtina. Paramatma cannot be seen, cannot be witnessed. So Paramatma sees all of us, but we cannot see him. That's why he is called avyakta murtina. And then mastani sarvabhutani. The next one is that all the living entities that are living in the universe, along with the universe, they are situated in me. This refers to Karnodaksha Vishnu. As Karnodaksha Vishnu, all the universes filled with many variety of living entities are situated within me. And this refers to Shirodaksha Vishnu. As Paramatma, I am there everywhere in the entire universe, spread all over. So basically, he says that I am spread within the universe, and that universe is within me. Nachaham teshu avasita. Nacha aham te asu avasita. But I am not situated in the universe. Here he said that I am there within the universe spread all over, but I am not there in the universe. So indirectly what he is saying, this is my understanding. So I am as Paramatma there in the entire universe spread all over, either Kshodaksha Vishnu or Garbhodaksha Vishnu. But I am not there in that universe. That means I am there as a matter of duty to maintain the universe. I am there in Yoga Nidra. I am just allowing people to perform whatever they want. I don't interfere in their free will. I don't disturb them because my heart is not in the material world. My heart in the spiritual world. Though I may be there in the material world in order to maintain the material world, but I am in Yoga Nidra. I maintain the universe by being in Yoga Nidra. But my mind, my heart is actually in the spiritual world always. That is what is indicated in this verse. This verse is only half. The remaining half portion will be there in the next verse. When we combine both, we will get a complete meaning. So let us see what is the meaning of this verse. So before that, Prabhupada writes in the purport, in the first few lines, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not perceivable through our gross material senses. Atas Sri Krishna Namadi Nabhavet Grapyam Indriya. Sevo Nukehi Jivado Smayameva Spurati Yada. So he says that Atas Sri Krishna Namadi, the name, form, qualities, and attributes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be obtained by our blunt senses. It is only when we engage all our senses headed by tongue in the service of Supreme Lord, the Lord will reveal within our heart. We cannot understand the Supreme Lord through our blunt senses. Instead, when we engage our senses in service of Supreme Lord, the Lord will reveal about Himself, the knowledge about Himself within our heart. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. So one meaning of this is all living entities are there in the universe, which is there within me, but I am not there among all the living entities like one of them. I am there as Paramatma, but I am in my Yoga Nidra. I am sleeping. I am not there performing all the mental activities. I am indifferent to all the mental activities that are happening in the universe. So that is the one intention with which Lord Krishna is speaking this. Here you see, so everything is there within Lord Krishna, all the planets and all the everything is there in, like just like Mother Yashoda saw entire universe within the mouth of Lord Krishna. So like that. So in that way, Mastani Sarvabhutani, everything is there in me. This whole universe is pervaded by me. My Swarupa cannot be grasped by the material senses. Thus, I will be called as Avyakta Murtina. I am in everything, in his form as Paramatma. Though I am in everything, though I maintain and regulate everything, all dependent moving and non-moving entities are simultaneously situated within me. Though I am situated in everything for the purpose of maintenance and regulating the activities of the entire universe, all the dependent moving and non-moving entities that are there in the universe are situated within me also. That means the entire universe is there in me as Karanodakshaya Vishnu. But I am not situated in them, but I am independent of all of them, taking the role of the Paramatma or Antaryami of the universe, which is my expansion. Entering within the universe, I control and support the entire universe. Vishtabhyaham idam Krishnam ekam shena sito jagat. I pervade this whole universe in my single manifest form, that is called Paramatma. So this verse talks about Paramatma feature of the Supreme Lord and also the Mahavishnu feature of the Supreme Lord. Within Mahavishnu, everything is there, and as Paramatma, I am there in everything. Andantarastha Paramanu cha Antarastham. So like that. So now the question comes, but it would be very tiring for you to carry out such a heavy burden of maintaining the entire universe. So Lord says, no, nothing is tiring for me. Nachamastani bhutani pashyame yogam aishwaram. Bhuta brunnacha bhutasto mamatma bhuta bhavana. Someone can read the translation.
And yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, I am not a part of this cosmic manifestation, for myself is the very source of creation.
So he says that if you see the previous verse, in that it is mentioned that Maya tatam idam sarvam jagad avyakta murtina. This is one aspect. I in my avyakta form, man spread all over the universe. Mastani sarvabhutani. And all the living entities are in me. So first one is Paramatma. The second one is Karanodakshaya Vishnu. And the third one, the fourth line states, Nachaham teshu avasitam. I don't stay in the universe. It is the connection to the first line. I am there everywhere, but I am not there. That means, though I am there as Paramatma, but my heart is not there in everything. And now we say that Nachamastani Bhutani. In the third line, he said that Mastani Sarva Bhutani. Everything is there in me. And now he says everything is not in me. Nachamastani Bhutani. He says that though everything is there in the form, everything that is there in the universe is there within me as my feature as Karanodakshaya Vishnu, but nothing is there in me as Shyamasundar Krishna. Because Shyamasundar Krishna is entirely independent of all the material creations. Pashyame Yogam Aishwaram. Kindly see the power of my yoga. Kindly see the power of my yoga. This is my yoga. What is my yoga? What is the power of my yoga? Bhuta brunna cha bhutasto mamatma bhuta bhavana. Bhuta brunna cha bhutasto. Though everything is situated in me, they are not situated in me, since I am completely independent of everything. Though I am there within the universe as Paramatma, but I am not there because my heart is not there in the material world. Though everything is there in me, but nothing is in me because I am independent of everything. I, the personality of Godhead, in my Swarupa, I am independent of all the material creations, all the material universes. Though nothing is, and hence nothing is in me. So this is the power of my Chit Shakti. This is the power of my yoga. Pashchime Yoga Maishwaram. So one who understands this knowledge about me will by default perform bhakti. So that is what Lord Krishna is indicating here. So the meaning of this verse is, the things created by me are not within me, like water in a pot. Nachamastani bhutani. He basically telling that I just create as a matter of duty. I am not attached to those things which I have created. But you said Mastani Sarvabhutani. So Lord Krishna says that understand that this is my extraordinary yoga, Yoga Maishwaram. Yoga means the means by which something very difficult to accomplish is accomplished. So this is my power, which is very difficult to accomplish, becomes easily accomplished. What is that power of the Supreme Lord? I maintain and protect all the living entities, Bhuta Brun, by my Satya Sankalpa Shakti. But I am not situated or I am not mixed with them at all, because my mind carries out their welfare. But I personally situated in the spiritual world. I maintain and protect them by my extraordinary yoga. I do not have to utilize my body to do this. I do not have to use my Swarupa to do it. I, in my Swarupa, eternally situated in the spiritual world. Only in my manifested form as Paramatma stay in the material world and take care of the maintenance of the entire material universe. That too, being indifferent to the material world, I maintain the universe. So it is like one simple comparison is given. It is like when a person gets married, in order to stay with his wife, constructs a house, eventually gets the children, takes care of the children, and takes everything that is required for the growth of the children, for the education of the children. Is it not natural to have attachment toward the wife and children for a person who had spent all one's lifetime? It is very natural to have affection for the wife, children, home, and all the belongings, etc. It is natural for a person to have, because it is he who protected them, nurtured them, and took care of their growth, etc. Becomes very much attached to that. But when it comes to the Supreme Lord, it is the Lord who creates the material universe. It is the Lord who maintains the material universe. It is the Lord who takes care of the welfare of every living entity that is there in the universe. But in spite of doing all these things, he is not attached to material universe. He is completely indifferent to material universe. This is Lord's Paschame Yoga Maishwaram. In spite of creating all the material universes, in spite of maintaining all the universes, he eternally situated in the spiritual world. Similarly, Lord Krishna is indicating to us that in spite of having taken birth in this material world, in spite of having been awarded with so many duties, in spite of performing so many responsibilities, don't become attached to this material world. If you become attached to spiritual world, you will come to spiritual world. If you become attached to material world, you will remain in the material world. Thus Lord Krishna says that though I enter into material world as Paramatma, I will be in Yoga Nidra. I do all the duties but indifferently. But I will be doing all the activities with attachment, with affection only in the spiritual world. Same way, when you perform all the duties in the material world indifferently, you will become qualified to come to spiritual world. So indirectly, that Lord Krishna is hinting in these two verses this particular thing. The continued existence and functioning of all moving and non-moving entities depends on my will. Then Lord Krishna gives an example. Though they are in me, they are not in me. And though I am in them, I am not in them. How can we understand this tricky information that Lord Krishna is giving? Now he himself is giving an example. Through the example, he tries to make it clear. Yatakasha sthito nityam vayu sarvatra go mahan tata sarvani bhutani mastani upadharaya.
Understand that as the mighty wind going everywhere, rest always in the sky, all created beings rest in me.
So here Lord Krishna gives an example that just like the ether, the sky, who is powerful, it gives shelter to the powerful wind, which keep moving here and there, wandering here and there, performing so many activities. But ether is indifferent to the activities of air. So Lord says that similarly, in my feature as Paramatma, Karnadaksha Vishnu or Garbhodaksha Vishnu or Kshirodaksha Vishnu, it is I who create all the universes. It is I who maintain all the universes. Under my supervision, the people in the entire universe material creation performing various activities. But I am not disturbed by all those activities. Though I am there in the universe, I am not there because I am not interested in material activities of the any living entity. Though they are in me, they are not in me because I am not attached to any of these material universes or any of the living entity in the material universes. I am completely indifferent, just like the sky is indifferent to air. In spite of giving shelter to air so that it can move here and there, but the ether is indifferent to the air. Similarly, I am also indifferent to all the universes and all the activities that are happening in the material universes. The great air, which cannot support itself, situated in the great ether, moves everywhere. Since they have no self-supporting power, their existence is enabled by my will alone, and the movement takes place through the Paramatma. Just as the air exists and moves in the ether by my will, understand that all beings are situated in me, maintained and controlled only by my will alone, while I am not affected by them. If I did not do this, all the elements such as ether would be destroyed. All the living entities will be destroyed if I don't take care of them. So like this, Lord Krishna maintains all of us, but is indifferent to all of us. So this is the greatness of the Supreme Lord. It is only one who understands this will become qualified to practice bhakti. So I'll read a couple of lines to understand the meaning of this verse is ether as detachment because it is unconscious by its very nature. So somebody may say that so ether is material element and air is also material element. They don't have any attachment between those two. But the Supreme Lord is a living entity and jivas are living entities. The attachment will be natural. So he says that among the conscious beings, however, detachment does not exist anywhere except in the Lord. Even though he is at once contains everything and dwells within everything. The Supreme Lord, all of us within him, and he is there within all of us as Paramatma. But still, he is not attached to all of us. This fact establishes the inconceivable nature of the Supreme Lord. So, there will not be attachment between two inanimate objects like the ether and air, sky and air. But in connection to the Supreme Lord and Jiva, there is a possibility of affection between them. But Lord says that no, I am indifferent to all the jivas. In spite of having all of them within me, and in spite of having myself within all of them, I remain indifferent to all of them. This is the greatness of my power. It is who he understands this greatness of mine will become qualified to practice Ananya Bhakti and will become qualified to come to my spiritual abode.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, in the third and fourth verse, no, sorry, fourth and fifth verse, मतलब can you please just मतलब recap, क्योंकि ये बहुत ही confusing लग रहा है.
कुछ confusion नहीं. The meaning of third and fourth and fifth verse is this one. The continued existence and functioning of all moving and non-moving entities depend on my will. He gives example. Oh, not this. What is this? So what? Where is the one line? One simple statement was there. So basically says that though everything exists in me and I am there in everything, but I maintain. So it's basically this only. The continued existence and functioning of all moving and non-moving entities depend upon my will, because it is I who create and it is I who maintain them. Lord gives an example. Though they are in me, they are not in me. Though I am in them, I am not in them. This is the meaning of fourth and fifth verses. Though they are in me, they are not in me. Though I am in them, I am not in them. She basically says that I, as Karanadaksha Vishnu, possess everything within me, because all the universes are there within my skin pores, but they are in me because I don't identify with them. And then he says that as Garbhodaksha Vishnu or Kyudaksha Vishnu, I am there in each and every universe as Paramatma, but I am not in them because my mind is not in them. My mind and my heart is in the spiritual world. I am there in the material world as a maintainer, but I am in Yoga Nidra. I don't identify with any activity of this material world. Instead, I am there in the spiritual world. I identify myself with all the spiritual activities, with my spiritual associates. So this is the power of yoga. Pashyame yoga maishwaram. So this is the meaning of these three verses. So with that background, Lord Krishna continues now in the next three verses. The second information Lord Krishna reveals about his power of his yoga. I understand that all these things which can presently be seen are situated in you, but at the same time, at the time of destruction, where will they go? This verse answers. Arjuna is asking that, okay, now I understand that everything is in you now, but after annihilation, where they will go? So Lord Krishna says, after annihilation, they will enter me, and the next creation, they will come out from me, and the creation will take place. So indirectly says that it is I who create, it is I who maintain, it is in me they enter into after annihilation. It is I am the source of everything that is there in this entire material world. It is I who is the creator, maintainer, and annihilator. In that way, it says, Sarva Bhutani Kaunteya Prakritim Yanti Mamikam Kalpakshaye Punastani Kalpadau Visrujamyaham. Someone read the translation?
O son of Kunti, at the end of the millennium, all material manifestation enter into my nature. And at the beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I create them again.
So basically, in the next three verses, Lord Krishna concludes this section saying that the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this entire material universes are done by my will alone. It is I who do creation, maintenance, and annihilation. So this is my power. One who understands this will practice bhakti. That is the intended meaning. Sarva Bhutani Kaunteya Prakritim Yanti Mamikam. At the time of creation, all our bodies, which are made up of 4 elements, will enter back into Prakriti. And along with Prakriti, all the living entities will enter into me. Me means Mamikam. That me is Karnodakshaya Vishnu. Kalpakshaye Punastani. Kalpado Visrujamyaham. At the end of this Mahakalpa, at the end of lifetime of Brahma, life Brahma is 100 years, everything, all the manifested universes along with all the living entities, they enter into me along with Prakriti. And during the next Mahakalpa, they all will come out from me and the new creation will start. That is what the Lord is indicating here. So then the question comes, but how can you create if you are detached and are unchangeable by nature? So Lord previously said that I am there in everything, but I am detached. Now Arjuna is asking, if you are detached, why do you create? A detached person not at all interested in doing this. So Lord Krishna says, Prakritim swama vastabhya visrujami puna puna bhutagramam krishnam avasham prakritervashat.
The whole cosmic order is under me. Under my will, it is automatically manifested again and again. And under my will, it is annihilated at the end.
So, Prakritim swam avastabhya. The Prakriti is situated within me, under my supervision. And through that Prakriti, Visrujami Punapurha. So, by releasing that Prakriti, I cause the creation of all these material universes, in which the living entities get a particular body being impelled by their previous karma. Bhutagrama means their previous karma. Bhutagrama Mimam Krishnam, all the living entities who are going to take birth in a particular universe, being impelled by their previous karma, avasham, not as per their desires, instead being forced by their previous karma, they will get a particular body in the next creation.